and stepped away from the door, not waiting to make sure no one was coming. If someone was going to come to a door, you heard it early. Heard movement in the house or in the yard, someone shushing the dog maybe, someone calling out, "Who is it?" Or someone rushing up to peer through the gap between the brick wall and the outer door, then calling for a parent, a mother usually. It happened quick. You didn't need to stand around, a hopeful debutante holding a smile for full minutes. Did Passos really not know that? The boy wonder? The climber who had made zone leader at only 11 months out? Elder McLeod waited, half-turned again, and now he noticed the shadow of a frown on Passos' face. "Nobody's coming," McLeod said. "I was just making sure," Passos said. The elders finished knocking the street, every door a no-show, and started right into the next street. More no-shows. More smiles from Passos. McLeod wanted to throw his head back and laugh. Instead, he slowed his pace, then stopped, looking down at his wristwatch. 3:08. When he looked up again, the world was still the same. Everlastingly the same. The dust scrims, the whites on clotheslines, the property walls bristling with colored glass, rows of sharp bared teeth. He could hear the river in the distance now, but only just. At a sudden gust of wind, a pair of blue jeans kicked up above the property wall to McLeod's left. He thought of the old dress pants he'd laid out on his bedspread this morning, a threadbare sacrifice waiting to be burned, a tradition, a rite, which he would duly observe tonight with Sweeney and Kimball. He hadn't seen them in a week, not since transfers and the news that they would both become senior companions at last. He expected they would razz him, the eternal junior, and that they'd see through his good riddance routine. It did gall McLeod that he had to take orders now from someone with less experience on the mission, and with no knowledge of Cariña at all, the city McLeod had served in for the last 6 months. But Elder Passos played the game. McLeod didn't. Passos stooped to the game. McLeod wouldn't. Over the sound of the river came a different kind of coursing, much louder and nearer to McLeod. His senior companion stood to his right, upending a squeeze water bottle above his mouth. The bottle exhaled as Passos lowered it, replaced it in his bag. He wiped his lips with the back of his hand, then nodded at McLeod and started for the next door. "Really?" McLeod said. Passos turned around. "What?" "Today's my slump day, man, and nobody's answering." "Your slump day?" Passos said. "You don't know what slump day is? Are you really that?" "I know what it is, Elder McLeod. It's unbecoming of a missionary. That's what President Mason said at the last Zone Leaders Conference. No more crass names to mark so-called occasions, and no more burning perfectly good clothes either. Didn't your last Zone Leader communicate that?" "He communicated a lot of things," McLeod said, laying emphasis on the procedural speak he already disliked in Passos. He stared at him for a long, hard second. Then he changed his tack. "Elder Passos, we can pick this back up tomorrow, can't we? I think 18 months on the mission is worth a little break, don't you?" Passos put his hands at the top of his thighs, arms akimbo, long stick-figure limbs. He seemed to be weighing his options, which battles and when. "How about we do 5 more doors?" Passos said. "Then we'll take a break, okay?" McLeod hesitated a moment, then sighed. The first door was Passos. Nothing. The next was McLeod's. Also nothing. The third door triggered an explosion of barking, a big dog from the sound of it, each bark like a mortar round. After several bracing seconds of this, McLeod and Passos moved on. When they knocked the fourth door, a flutter of movement came from inside the courtyard. A door handle catching, a door scraping open. A patter of footsteps approaching the outer door. A young face through the gap. Brown eyes, shorn brown hair. "Well, hello," Passos said. The face disappeared and the steps retreated. McLeod and Passos heard whispered voices from the open front door, a quick high alto, a dragging soprano. Then the tiny steps again. "No one's here, okay?" said the alto voice through the outer door. "Ninguém está